You don't see that every day. A toad is trying to climb the fence. Look at that. He's not just trying, he's doing it. I'm surprised. Got some currants that are ripe in here. It's the first time this particular type actually had berries. Some Dutch name or something, I think. There, right there. They're good, they're sweet. Oh yeah. Have to come back here with a bowl. This hazelnut graft is doing good. It's a theta grafted onto a precocious. Well, the mulberries are starting to redden up and the birds are already picking them. I just chased a robin out of here and there's something way back in there. Yeah. I see one black one up there. Well, no, it's not. Maybe it might be black. There's so many of them, they gotta get sick of them, you think? Well, we'll find out. This right here is a linden flower. Basswood. Big time nectar source. See when that looks like it's black right there. A couple of them. And my first mulberries. They're little. Ooh, they're still hard. Not that sweet. I think that's flavor. Yeah, you got nice flavor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get too many. That's okay. I've got better ones that are growing up by the house. We got to get the birds trained that this is all they need back here. Looks like something's been eating these already. See that? Look at that. The morning light is just about to shine. More damage from that little woodchuck that's in here eating on the kohlrabi that I had kind of socked away here. Look at that. They're all just ate right out. So that's 6 kohlrabi that were used to feed a woodchuck. Beneath this Swiss chard leaf is lunch. Multiple Swiss chard leaves. So although the meat is not raised here on the property, all the rest of the ingredients are. There's radish stems in here, there's Swiss chard stems in here, and there's radishes. There's lots and lots and lots of food right there. Oh, and there's also garlic in there. And right here is the presentation. This circle bed of onions has had it. There's some type of mold or fungus issue with the onions. I grew onions here for quite a few years in a row, and now it's telling me I can't do it anymore. Now I've got plenty of bobills around. I don't need to save these for the bobills or even for the bulbs. So I'm going to compost them all. This whole bed is going to be converted into a climbing peas and skirret bed like these two are. I don't know how many years in a row I can do skirret, but I'm fixing to find out. I'm going to keep right on growing them in the same beds. Oh, that was a bean that I just clipped off. Well, that sucks. I thought it was one of those morning glories. Well, it'll keep growing. Oh well. I seem to do that a lot when I'm weeding. You get into kind of a zen state and then you stop paying attention. You start thinking about everything else and then there you go, you just pull out something that you wanted. So I'm going to do the same back here. What happened was since they purchased that, or since they, what happened is since that storage unit came in, they built up that land there. It was actually a wetland right there, and now the water's concentrated into a smaller spot, and it's coming up into the land on my property here. I've got video where all this was just underwater, and the onions I don't think can take it. Now I'm going to look at them. I thought I saw one that didn't have any on it, and I think that would probably be one to save, but I don't see one now. But I think that's why I'm getting this in these onions here. Like right, oh no, that's got one on the top. I've got quite a few elderberries rooted in here. So I'm going to go through this. I'm just going to go through this by hand. I think they all got it. I think it's from all that water, because this was underwater. This one doesn't have it bad at all. Look at that. So maybe I'd save the bills. I'd leave that one in place and see if it gets it. Yeah, that's probably the ones I saw. This one right here. There's two in a row. Two separate plants. So I'll have to go through this very carefully and not pull out any of those that have it. You know, I should do that right now since I'm back here. Alright, we finished weeding the onions that were infected with this, whatever it is. I read about it once. But I'm going to leave them right here. I'm going to cover it with straw and let it decompose in place. I'm not going to spread this mold around at all. And I left 5 of them in here in various stages of infection. This one doesn't seem to have really anything. And I've got some a little bit worse. They all had upright. They weren't bent over, because a lot of them, they get so rotten here they just bend right over. So I also want to see if this will cure itself now that I took the weeds away. But that's what it was looking like. But this will be my next circle bed, one of my next circle beds of skirret that I'll plant this fall. All of this, these are jewel weed right here. All this stand of jewel weed and all the rest of the weeds that are in here, it'll be making up my next barrel of ferment, which I'll probably be doing in the next couple days. So all of this will be weeded out of here. I think I got room for another circle bed between the two pawpaw trees right here. There's one, there's two. I read that skirret actually likes wet ground. And this is going to be a very interesting experiment, because that's always an issue. You got too wet a soil, what do you grow? It might be skirret. And I also have huge stands of comfrey here that I can harvest for the ferment. Comfrey is otherwise known as a mineral accumulator, and I want those minerals in my compost, and those minerals that go through the compost into my garden. There's lots and lots and lots of comfrey here. That's actually been holding back the other weeds too. Wherever there's big huge stands of comfrey, I don't have much of this other plants growing, which is pretty cool. So I think since I'm back here and it's still not too hot and it's getting hotter by the minute, I'm going to get this done too, get it on the pile. And then these 2 beds will be repositories for kitchen scraps for the next couple weeks. I'll just shovel, make a hole, put it in, move over, make another hole. Next time I have some, put it in, so on and so forth, in both of these 2 beds. So this bed is cleared out. I'm going to be burying kitchen scraps in here like I mentioned and convert it into another Skirret round bed like those two. And then instead of hauling straw back here, I decided I'm just going to use jewel weed to cover up all the onions. And there's probably about a foot of jewel weed on top. All I did was clear out around this pawpaw tree. Still had plenty for ferment to add to compost next year. Here we have one pea plant growing right here. It's a tall telephone, a climbing pea, and let's count how many peas so far on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's only a single in that one. 6, 7, 8. 8 of them so far. And it's still growing up. Still growing blossoms. Let's see, how about this one? That one doesn't have as many. That one doesn't have. None of the rest of them have as many yet. That one's ahead of the game. This one here looks like it's pretty darn. Something's in here eating on my peaches. Did it again. Oh, right here it is. Looks like a rabbit. It has to be because it's got teeth marks. It's got a big teeth in here. I don't know what this is. That almost looks like a Juneberry. I'm going to have to get a cage and cage this stuff up here. Anyways, I was coming over here. One of these seems pretty thick. Hey, there's peas in there. Not quite, really close. I'm going to have my first peas probably tomorrow. I'll bet you tomorrow it'll be ready to go. It's ready right now, but I know if you wait one more day, you can retain the sweetness and the peas get even more plump. If you feel just even the slightest movement in the outer casing against the pea, then that pea's got a little bit more to go to fill that out. If there's no movement, if it's totally tight and there's no flexibility in that shell, then they're ready. Well, I just tried one. They're not quite ready yet. Getting close. Interesting development here in our watermelon patch. It's a watermelon. I guess it's really not that interesting to find a watermelon in a watermelon patch, is it? This is a barrel of ferment, and I started this process last year, a year ago, probably more than a year ago now, a couple weeks. And what I did, I took most of the green material out in May and added it to my composting effort. Some of it was left in here along with the water. I didn't need all the water, so there was water here, and I started using the water. I mix it with rainwater and water the garden. And because I had some green material left in there, I decided to add another batch of rainwater. Now this is the second batch of rainwater. Second batch. I took 3 batches out of here. The first was no rainwater. Second, I drew it down to about a quarter being left, and then I filled the barrel back up with rainwater, and then I did about half down and then more rainwater, not wanting to dilute it too badly. But in that second process, I started adding green material. Look, it's all bubbly in there. It's working really nice. Hardly any smell, and the water is really green. That's what I like, that green. That tells me there's nitrogen and all kinds of other things in it. You can see it being green. The green coming over. It's all nutrients. Now I pruned one of my kiwi vines. And I'm going to add leaves, tree leaves to it. I've got some elderberry leaves to add into it too. I watered the garden yesterday, and the barrel was full before I started, so I drew it down halfway, and I mixed it 50-50 with rainwater. So this batch will be another watering of the garden, and then once I draw this batch down, I'm going to pack this with green material and lock it up for next year's compost. And that's why I started adding greens, because I knew that was happening. The surprise event was all this bubbly activity that's going on here, even though I'm not locking this thing down and getting it into the ferment. Of course, I read a little bit about fermenting human food. I got a couple books on it. And it only takes 72 hours to really get the nutrients out of this material. So I'm thinking, or into the material, or I don't know how to, I'm not sure how fermenting actually totally works. But the results are very impressive. And I can tell you, I believe, I'm not measuring this as a scientist, I believe my plants are growing better because I'm applying it. And certainly nothing's dying, so it's not a poison or toxic. Yeah, new developments. The young ones are sticking their heads out. Let's see if one will stick it out when I'm sitting here. Oh. In and out.